As many of you are probably aware, even if you don't want to be aware, the picture here is of a lady, Lily Phillips. I think she's an English girl, and I believe she's on OnlyFans, so she sells pictures and videos of stuff herself. If I'm mistaken on that, then fine. But what she recently did, sleep with 100 men in a day sort of a thing, right? A challenge, the Irish Independent calls it. And the reason it made the headlines, or the reason it's been flying around the world, is not so much because of the act. It's because of her reaction to it and how public her reaction was to it. So she finished up the challenge, and then she seemed to crumble emotionally. She spoke about it being not what she thought it was, intense, felt a little dissociated during it. And now, as the headline says, Lily Phillips and her sleep with 100 men in a day challenge shows there are always men ready to exploit women. Right? So this is the takeaway that many people, many entities are pumping out. This is the lesson that they want you to learn from this, right? That a woman can make a choice. And if a man consents to go along with that choice, then the man is responsible for taking advantage of that woman. Now, this is not to defend 100 men who decided to go in and have sex with the same woman on the same day, after a man and before another man, right? That speaks for itself, as do her actions. The problem with pumping out this sort of rhetoric and this sort of psychology is that it assumes, or it wants you to come to the belief that women have no individual agency. Women are incapable of making informed decisions and choices for themselves. This is the most disgusting anti-woman sentiment you could possibly hold. So if you want to subscribe to the idea that this woman made a decision to do this, and then she was exploited by the men that engaged with the same act and made the same decision to do this, it was consensual. So if you want to subscribe to the fact that the lesson to be taken from this is that men are animals and men have taken advantage of this girl, then you also have to subscribe to the belief that women have no volition of their own. Women are like special needs children or special needs adults, and they need a minder with them all the time, because otherwise they'll just be taken advantage of, because they have no brain capacity, they have no cognitive ability to be able to perceive the world and make informed decisions in their reality about what they want to do with themselves. This is the most anti-female perspective you can possibly take on this situation. And it's disgusting that you have mainstream media, expected but still disgusting, that you have these organizations that will continue trying to pump this message out into young girls, that any decision they make is null and void depending on what decision a man makes, because women just don't have the ability to be individual agents themselves. Do not listen to this. Question this. If you hear people speaking like this, put this argument to them. Do you believe that this woman had absolutely no say in what she was doing? Is she not totally responsible for the decision that she made, for the acts that she consented to be part of? Because she's subsequently gone on to say that she wants to do 1,000 men now, next. And it's interesting as well, as far as I understand it, that her mother is her financial advisor. But you never hear people speaking about that. The evil, the horrors that women and mothers can do to their own daughters. Look at the Kardashians' mother. What is she but a glorified trafficker or a glorified pimp? There's no other way of dressing it up. If Kim Kardashian's mother was a man in that role, if it was her father doing that to her, there'd be outrage to all the daughters. It'd be outrage. But we need to stop allowing this. The idea that women, on the one hand, they tell you you're free to do whatever you want, you don't have to accept the consequences of your actions. But at the same time, once you do that, then if you feel bad about it, it's because men exploited you. This is absolute brain rot to young girls. And it will see many young girls head down the same road that this Lily Phillips is after heading down. So please question these things. And if you hear people speaking about this in this fashion of blaming the men, this isn't to defend the men or to negate any any challenge to the character of the men who'd engage in this. It's just to balance the scales and get to the principles of it. That women absolutely have a choice to make. But they also, if they're free to make the choices that they want to make, they also have to be free to accept that responsibility, because you can't have it both ways.